Hello and welcome back to another video from the WhatEwen'sDoin football channel. So for this video it's going to be quite a chilled one, quite a relaxed video for yourselves today, and we are going to be going through my ratings and reviews for this season's Scottish Premiership kits, more specifically home kits, and we're going to be rating all 12 teams and see which are my favourites and more specifically which is my top 3. Now we're just going to be doing this in alphabetical order. I'm going to promise you I will not be biased. Obviously, as you guys watch these videos, you will know that my Scottish team is Hearts, but I'm not going to be biased. We will go through all the strips, and then at the end of it, like I said, we'll give them a rating out of 10 as we go along, and then at the end we will pick my top 3. Just before we start again, guys, a big massive thank you to all of you who have been subscribing, who've been watching and been liking the videos as well. Again, it is always appreciated, and I do really appreciate the support as well, so thank you very much as always. So without any further ado, let's dive in and see what our ratings slash reviews are for all the home kits of the Scottish Premiership season 21-22. So let's dive straight into it. So we are on a website called footballkitarchive.com, and they have got all the kits on their site, and we're going to go through the first one, starting with A, which is obviously Aberdeen's home kit. Now, Aberdeen, throughout the years that I've been watching football, they've never really done anything sort of different in my opinion. You know, it's always the same. I know that Aberdeen themselves, I know for a few away kits they've done maybe in the past that they've maybe done something a bit different in terms of its design and the creativity. But usually with the Aberdeen kit, I mean, there's not really a lot that you can do. It's usually relatively simple. For this year's one, again, it is quite simple. Sponsored by Adidas. Yeah, there's not much to say about it. Like, it's not a bad kit by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, there's not a lot going on. And for me personally, I do like a kit that has like a tiny bit of sort of the creativity in terms of its design. But it's not a bad kit by any means. I would say it's a relatively average kit. So for a rating out of 10, I would probably give it a very solid 5 out of 10. So we are going to move on to Celtics Home Kit. Again, when it comes to a Celtic home kit, obviously they're red. The colours that represent the football club is obviously the green and white hoops. So sometimes I think whoever is their kit manufacturer at the time, it can be a bit of a challenge to try and make a Celtic kit stand out without it kind of looking like the kits of the previous years. It's fairly straightforward. Again, much like the Aberdeen kit, there's not a lot that they can do with a Celtic kit in general. However, this kind of falls a bit below the Aberdeen kit that we started off with. Now, it's not the actual design itself, it's not anything to actually do with the kit as such, but that I cannot stand any sort of the betting sponsor on any football kit. I can I can understand why a club would do that, because let's face it, there's good revenue in that in terms of a sponsorship, but I just don't agree with it at all. And the plus as well, I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that quite a number of years ago is that they banned football clubs from having an alcohol sponsor, and to me I think a betting sponsorship would kind of fall in that same category, because I can understand why they would ban any sort of drink sponsor, which I totally agree with. But like, for the gambling, for some sort of at the cases, that can lead to a whole different set of problems. I kind of feel as if those two subjects kind of fall into the same category. But again, it's not like the kit manufacturer's fault. They've done what they can, but yeah, that's just my the personal opinion. I'm not a massive fan of the betting sponsors as such, so for me this would go in at a rating of 4 out of 10. Sorry, Celtic. Okay, so next up on our list is also newly promoted Dundee FC. Now, I don't know what it is about Dundee as a club. I just don't like them. I don't know what it is. It's not anything specific that they've done. But yeah, Dundee as a club, I'm not a massive fan of. However, this home kit that they've got, I actually don't mind it. Again, it's not just your the plain sort of home kit. Obviously, you've got the sort of dark navyish blue of Dundee, and like you've got the light and the white sort of trim around the collar and the sleeves. But the thing that I actually really like about it is the kind of sleek faded design of the almost sort of rectangular the blocks, like going throughout the strip, and it also kind of gives me a little bit of a retro vibe, like sort of but to it, I don't know why, but for me it does. So it's a relatively simple kit, but again, it just gives you that tiny bit something different, which I do like. So I like, again, I don't think there's much to actually say on this kit, but for me this actually falls I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I was gonna give it a 7, but that would be a bit too much of a stretch on my part. But yeah, I'm gonna give this a 6.5, and I would say it's on the better scale of the spectrum of the home kits this season. So well done, Dundee. So just literally going a few yards away from Dundee, we have got the Dundee United home kit, and as you can see on screen, modelling that kit is the beautiful Charlie Mulgrew. Yes, I do have a tiny wee spot. Yeah, yes, I do have a tiny wee soft spot for Charlie Mulgrew. I don't know what it is about him, but he is a gorgeous man. Like, look at him. Anyhow, sorry. So in terms of the kit itself, I'd say out of all the home kits that have came out this season in the Scottish Premiership, I'd say that this one is probably the most out there in terms of its the creative design. And for all of you that watch my videos, whenever we try to get any sort of football kits, I like ones that are more sort of designed for people that wouldn't want them. However, I am kind of drawn to that, and for this I don't actually mind it too much. Obviously, you've got the clash of the colours of Dundee United, almost as if it's like a paint splatter, with the orange and the black. Again, it's probably something that fans wouldn't warm to straight away, but I actually don't mind it at all. It's something different, which I quite like in itself. Obviously, it might not be the most pleasing to the eye at first, but I think after a while you will start to grow on it. So for this reason, I'm gonna give the home shirt of Dundee United a 7 out of 10. Right, moving on down to the famous Heart of Midlothian with their also newly promoted side, the winners of the championship last season. Yeah, for my team, when this first came out, I won't lie, I was a tiny bit underwhelmed with the design of the kit as such. I mean, with our return to the Premiership, with all that fuss and trouble that went on that led to the demotion, let's say, to put that out there, not relegation, you know, I thought that they might have had in mind to make it just not special, but just have a bit of sort of flair and glam. Glam might be the wrong word, but you know where I'm trying to come from. And yeah, it just kind of underwhelmed me a tiny bit. I'm not a massive fan of the sort of upside down white triangle that leads off from the collar. For the short sleeve version and the white lines that kind of just cut off, like I'm just not a fan of it. Like I kind of came to the conclusion that if you're built, and if you are like, you know, if you're like, you know, was it physically built as some of the Hearts players are, when they wear it, they suit it absolutely fine. But on your sort of normal Hearts fan, like it just doesn't strike your eye as much. But what I will give this shirt credit for above any shirt that said that came out for this season is the MND Scotland sponsorship, which for most of the people will know, it's in tribute to the late Hearts captain Marius Zaliukas, who had passed away of motor neuron disease just last year. So yeah, I think it's such a nice touch on that front. But to putting aside that, in terms of the shirt itself, I would probably give it a 5 at the 0.5. Like, you know, it's not my the cup of tea, and I'll probably get the third kit that Hearts have brought out. That's more my sort of taste. But yeah, not the best, but again, not the worst at the same time. So just moving across the city, and we are going to do Hibs kit of 2021-22. Again, I'll give this credit for the map of Edinburgh that they put on to the green of the strip. Again, it's very different, and it's not anything that I've ever seen before. Yeah, like I don't mind it. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of like sort of a barrier for me personally of how much I can compliment this, because obviously for the Hearts and Hibs sort of rivalry, but yeah, like, you know, I think it's actually an alright strip. The only sort of main criticism that I would give on this strip is that whilst it is the map of Edinburgh, and I believe that where Hibs play, which is Easter Road, they've got it right on the bottom of the crest, but in this they've actually got the Gorgie Road in there, which is actually where Hearts play as well. So I don't know if that was thought out, like, you know, in that sense, but I'm sure that most Hibs fans would probably want to sort of scrub that out. That would be the only sort of the criticism I would have of it. I don't actually mind it as a strip. Like, you know, it is something different in terms of its the creativeness, and yeah, no, it's not bad at all. So I would actually rate this a 6 out of 10. I know me being a Hearts fan, like, you know, that's going to be a bit hypocritical of me, but again, yeah, I'd say I'm only going to give it that not 0.5 extra just because it's something different, and it's not something I've ever seen before. So yeah, they get a 6 out of 10 from me. So moving on to the Livingston home strip. Now, it's really simple, and they've kind of moved away from the traditional yellow that Livingston would have, and you know, it's really simple, and the only sort of the creativeness it's got going on is the kind of yellow and the trim of white, sort of at the bottom of the chest. But like, I really like it. I don't know what it is. Like, usually with the black strips, I actually quite like, but this one, even though it's relatively relatively simple. I think it's really nice, and yeah, I think it's because of that simplicity and the fact that it's a black kit. It looks really nice, and obviously if it wasn't a Hearts fan and I was just a general football kit enthusiast, I would have no problem at all buying this kit at all, because I like, again, I just think it's really simple, straight to the point, and again, it is actually something different in respect to the fact that Livingston have not went with their traditional yellow, so I think that's quite cool. So for this, I think I'm gonna have to go with 8 out of 10. Yeah, like, I think it's just something that I would probably wear again, like, you know, I've just explained, but yeah, I'll be based this on something that I would wear, and I would give this an 8 out of 10. Well done, Livingston. Right, so we move on to Motherwell. Again, Motherwell for the last maybe 10 years or so, if I'm right in saying, their home kit has kind of been the same. It's not been anything different as such. Again, it was the same thing with Aberdeen as well. Like, you know, I guess there's only so much you can do with the more specific the colors that they have. You know, yeah, yeah. Like, it's okay. Like, you know, like, again, it's pretty average, I would probably say. I know that might be a bit harsh, but like, again, there's just not a lot that's kind of striking out at me. Like, you know, it's got a relatively, like, sort of simple sponsor. You know, it's yeah, like, it's okay. So for this, again, I'll probably give it the same as the Aberdeen the rating, and we'll go with a 5 out of 10 for the Motherwell home kit. So we are moving on to the current champions, Rangers. Now, again, I'm going to say it is actually a really nice kit. Like, you know, because, like, you know, with the gold sort of trim of the Castor badge and the Rangers badge itself, and the kind of almost simplistic retro vibe that I get from this kit, I think it's really, really nice. However, it's the same with the Celtic kit, and it's the bloody betting brands that are on the kit, and it just annoys me. Like, you know, because that's, like, again, without getting into a rant, like, you know, if you're ever at the watching a football game, for example, or just in TV in general, can you tell me I'm wrong, and when the adverts come on, at least one betting brand always comes up, and it just gets ridiculous, just trying to lure sort of the people in, especially younger guys, like, as well, and it just annoys me. So this would be the only thing on the kit that would kind of hold me back from saying that it's probably the best kit. For me, if it didn't have that sponsor, I would probably say it was the best kit out of all of them. But based on this, I'm going to probably have to give it a 7 out of 10. Now, I know that I gave the Celtics rip a 4 out of 10, but at least Rangers have kind of got a bit of the creativity to going for it, and there's a bit of flair to the kit itself, but that's the only thing that kind of lets itself down, is the sponsor. So for me, it's a 7 out of 10 for the home Rangers kit. And we are going to be moving on to our last few ones. So it's the Ross County kit. Again, Ross County, I've had some alright kits for the past, but equally as well, they've had some stinkers and some very questionable kits. Again, I don't actually mind this kit. Like, you know, it's fairly straight forward. There's a lot of Scottish teams that are sponsored by Joma or Yoma. I don't know if the J is silent or not, but yeah, no, like, again, it's a fairly straightforward kit, and they've added those double white lines like across the kit. And again, the sponsor isn't too sort of overpowering as such, where it kind of draws your eye away from the actual kit itself. So yeah, I think it's relatively simple. So I would probably give the Ross County kit, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for Ross County. It's fairly simple, but it's got a tiny bit of the creativity going through it. So we will give Ross County 6 out of 10. Okay, so we're on to the last few, and we've got the Scottish Cup and the League Cup winners, St Johnstone. Now, St Johnstone, for me personally, I don't think they've ever had a nice kit. You know, I think St Johnstone have kind of been, in terms of their kits, it's almost as if they kind of been stuck in the past. Like it's never been something relatively new. Like, you know, it's always looked like a very just something maybe from the early 2000s, and since then it's never really sort of had the progress as such in terms of what their the kits are and how they're designed. Again, it's really relatively straightforward. Like, you know, you've obviously got the St Johnstone with the blue, and you've got the yellow and white trim as well, and you've got the St Johnstone badge sort of fading through on the bottom left of the strip. So again, it's not a bad strip, but it's nothing like, you know, eye catching. It's nothing new as such. So for the Scottish Cup and League Cup winners, I would probably give this a 5 out of 10. Yeah, it's not, yeah, it's just, it's there and it's fine. And now moving on to the very last one is St Mirren. As you can see, has been modelled by Eamon Brophy. Again, I don't actually mind this one. Again, there's not a lot going on as such. Again, it's sponsored by Joma or Yoma. Like, you know, I think they've designed this relatively simpler, but it's actually quite nice because there's not a lot going on, but it's a relatively retro sort of feel and a very sort of the retro vibe to it as such. I quite like the thickness of the collar, like, as well, like, you know, the buckets. Again, like, it gives me that kind of late 90s sort of look, and the way that they've not overdone their traditional sort of black and white stripes. They've kind of kept them to a very minimal as such. And so yeah, like, you know, I think it's more on the side of it's a better home kit than most of the home kits out this year. So I'm gonna give our last team, St Mirren, a 6 out of 10. So now that is all done, we're gonna pick our top 3. I'm just gonna have a quick scan again and just see which ones I'm gonna put in my top 3. So I think I've got my picks. Okay, so in at number 3, we're gonna go for the Rangers home kit. Now again, it seems very hypocritical of me, like, you know, from what I'm saying, like, because of the whole sort of the betting brands, but regardless of that, it's still a really nice kit, and I like the gold sort of trim and the sort of retroness that it gives to the kit as well. So just based on that, Rangers home kit, you go in at number 3. Number 2, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Dundee home kit. Again, it's just something different. There's not a lot going on, but again, I just really like the sort of faded, sort of rectangular shapes that going through it. Again, it's just very retro, and I don't mind it at all. And yeah, like, it's a nice vibing kit, and I feel as if, again, if I wasn't a particular fan of a specific team for Scottish football, I feel as if I wouldn't mind that, and I wouldn't mind buying that as well. So again, Dundee, you're going in at number 2 on the top 3 home kits. And in number 1, again, if I get a bit of stick for this, I don't mind, because it's just my style. In at number 1 is Livingston's Home Kit 2021. Again, yeah, I just think it's really simple, but again, that's what I really like about it. And like I said beforehand, because of the fact that they've diverted away from their usual yellow kit, I just think it's really nice. And a black kit, and especially mixed with the yellow as well, I think that's really nice. And it almost looks like a very sort of casual kit, but again, it's the simplicity of it that I do actually really like. So yeah, I don't think there's much more to actually say. So well done, Livingston. You go in at top spot at number 1. So just to recap, we have got the Rangers home kit in at number 3. We have got the Dundee home kit in at number 2. And for me personally, the winners of the home kit for 2021-22 season of the Scottish Premiership is Livingston. So that is it for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed those reviews and the ratings as well, but I would love to hear what you guys think as well, if you are a fan of Scottish football in general. So I would love to hear all your comments. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you are new to the channel and you are a fan of football shirts in general, please think about subscribing and smash that like button as well. It really helps me out. But like I said at the start of the video, I appreciate all the support and all the new subs as well, all the likes and all the views that you guys have been smashing. So thank you so much again. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. You take care. Bye for now.